Hello and welcome to Cheshire Audio. Now, what I'm going to do today is I want to show how to box up a Planer 3 in its original packaging. There's an ulterior motive here because also recently I've decided, I seem to be the person that everybody wants to talk to about repairing Regas, which is good. It's good because I've been doing it a long time and I can solve pretty much all problems with Regas really. I've been doing it a long time. And a lot of people want to send the decks to me, and I've had to make the decision that if you don't have the original packaging, and all the original packaging, because some people probably forget or lose or something about what's involved, I can't accept it really. And there's various reasons. Partly I've had decks coming in. I've had decks coming in just a cardboard box with nothing else, and the deck, just a deck in a cardboard box, sort of rattling around. I've had things like wrapped in newspaper, I've had, all this sort of thing, and they need to be really well protected. And I've even had people say, well, I'll make sure it's really, really well protected. And quite often they don't, and it'll be sort of really, surprised it's even made it. Or even if they do that, my problem is then I have to cut all their packaging off and reconstruct something, which could take me an hour and a half. Because I'm very particular. I do take a long time to get these things. It has to be right. So I will, use half my supply of bubble wrap on something and a big box and everything to try and make it safe. And it's time really, because it's things I don't charge for it. I just do it because it needs doing. And I'm starting to realise I'm spending too much time with things like that. So what I need to be able to do when a deck comes in, take it out of its original packaging. What's that? 2 minutes. Do the repair, might be half an hour, put it back in the box, 2 minutes, and the job's done. I don't want to be there hours and hours and hours packing stuff up. It sounds like it's all about me, but it's not. It is. I've had a few situations where things have been damaged and things like that. I had a chap who I went over and over and over with it. All he was doing was sending a tone arm, and I was saying, look, it needs at least 6 inches of bubble wrap around it. And oh yeah, I can do that. And he put it in a jiffy bag and stuck a stamp on it and sent it. And the arm was pretty broken when it arrived, really. So I just want to guard against stuff like that, because I don't want things like that getting broken. It's not good. So the video, what I'm going to do, I've got all the, if you remember on the previous video, I mentioned there was a second-hand Planer 3 in passing. I've been absolutely swamped by emails and phone calls and everything. People asking about this Planer 3. It's sold. It sold really quickly within about the first 2 minutes of me opening on the day after. So what I'm doing is packaging this up for the customer. It's not being sent by courier. He's coming to get it. So the slight differences, I'll explain as I go. There are slight differences in the way I'm packaging this to if I was giving it to a courier, but I'll talk through it as we go. The other thing is this will sort of work for early and recent. The slight differences I'll explain as we go. It'll work for P6, slight differences. P2, I think P2 is exactly the same actually. P1, not at all. The P1, I did do an unboxing video on a P1. So if you're looking to see how to pack up a P1, if you go back through the catalogue, there is a video there somewhere. I know it's not easy to find videos on YouTube anymore. Some of them seem to have changed the way it works, and it's really difficult to find back catalogues. But anyway, I'll stop the camera at this point, and I'll just set everything up, and we can have a look around what should be in the box and how to put it back together. Okay. So there we go. There's the Planer 3, which is much too nice for £400, if I'm honest. It's a really nice one. It is. I just had it playing on the jig, and it's a lovely deck. It pretty well unmarked. The lid looks like it's never been used. So yeah, it was too cheap really. But anyway, my trusty tape dispenser there for later. Box in open position. You'll notice if you've got an early P3 that it doesn't open on the top like that. The early P3s open on the end, so the end comes out. But I'll explain as we go. So we've got various bits of polythene for things. That's the main bag for the deck. That's the bag for the platter. That's the box for the platter, and we've got the 2 end bits of polystyrene. Power supply, early P3s you don't have this piece. That's the bearing protector. That's the main packing piece. Now the main packing piece is the bit that everybody seems to lose, and also the bit that people don't seem to understand how to fit as well. So that's quite a crucial bit. If you've got all the packing but you don't have that, you can't send your deck anywhere. You mustn't send your deck anywhere, because that's the bit that makes everything work. So yeah, let's. I'll try and set up the camera now, and somehow, so that I can actually try and describe how all this goes together. Okay. Okay. So first thing to do is to get your platter. What I tend to do is leave the mat on. That's in position. This is your packing piece, and over here, completely out of reach, plastic bag that it fits in. Now this is optional, but I prefer to put the plastic bag on so you're not picking things up on the mat. So we'll put the platter into the plastic bag. Might even, if you're lucky, there'll be a bit of tape left on there to tape it in. There isn't, so I'll just get my tape dispenser on it. So sort of like that. Doesn't really matter how neat it is because just wrap it round. Now, if you open up the can't do that with one hand. If you open up the packing piece, there's a cutout for the platter inside. So you just literally lay that on it so that you feel it lock in. So close that down. Too much air in it. That's it. So put tape. You don't actually need to tape. It just makes it easier to manipulate it when you're packing. Oh, if it's hanging out. Now this is the one piece that people seem to get confused about where it goes. Like I say, it's not totally obvious. I'll leave it there. Where it goes is this is the lid. I've left the lid in its packaging because I don't think this lid's really had any use, to be honest. I'll keep it nice. So make sure there's no air in there. And you just lay that. I should make sure the hinges are pointing up. Just lay that inside the lid. Just gently press it down. Now this method is used on pretty much all the decks, really. The 2, 3 and the 6 all use this method of putting the platter packing within the lid. So that's that part, so we'll put that to one side for a sec. Now what we want is the deck, so I'll just pull the deck across. Actually, it might be better to stand up. Right, it's a turntable. Now, I'm leaving the counterweight on this because this is not being shipped. If it was being shipped anywhere, you take off the counterweight, and on that packing piece, you'll notice there's a little cutout and a piece of basically a bag for it. So that goes in there, and I tend to put a piece of tape over it. But because it's being picked up, I wanted to calibrate it for the customer, so it's calibrated, ready to go. He's just putting it in a car. It's not going to get thrown across a delivery yard or anything like that. It's just being carefully carried into a car and out of a car, so it'll be fine. But like I say, if you're sending it anyway, you must not leave the counterweight on because it will damage the deck. Really, it'll come off and it'll damage the deck. It'll damage the bearings. What you can do as well, if you get a long piece of, I'm trying to think, like that plastic coated wire that you use for like bread and that sort of thing. You can wrap a piece around here, or a piece of Rega use like electrician's tape, just to make sure the tone arm stays in its stay, because it's got a good clip on there, but you don't totally want to rely on it. So a bit of the tape around there is quite good. Don't use sellotape, because sellotape will probably never come off afterwards. You end up with glue everywhere. So a bit of electrician's tape. Just take it around a couple of times so it sticks to itself. We've got this sort of mystery piece that goes underneath. Just gently lift up the sub platter and push that underneath, and that just stops the sub platter banging on the bearing. If you've lost that piece, it's easy enough to cut one out. Again, if you're shipping it, I would put a piece of tape across here, not sellotape, a bit of electrician's tape. That's what Rega do. They just have a couple of bits of tape on it, or a piece down here to hold it in position, and that's enough, really. Now what we're going to do is put it into the bag. If you haven't, it doesn't matter too much if you haven't got a bag, but it's just better for, well, it's just better really if you've got one. I've left we've got a stylus guard on here. It's always, again, a good idea if you're shipping, particularly if it's a Rega cartridge, because these stylus guards don't necessarily stay on very well, is just to put a bit of electrician's tape around that as well. Again, that's what Rega do. So just feed it into the bag. Hope you can see this. There's a lot of effort going into this. I just leave the wires out, straight out the back for now. What I tend to do is get the bag as far forward as I can. and lay the cables. I don't tend to tie these together. What I do is loosely, put them sort of loosely across within the packaging, and then wrap them inside like that and push them underneath. Now this isn't quite as easy with the earlier decks, because the earlier decks have a mains plug. Now it's very difficult to actually accommodate the mains plug within the packaging. Yeah, I must admit it's not an easy thing. Right, now, so next thing is the mystery bit of the mystery packing piece, this piece. You'll notice there's a bit of a hole. What you want to do is locate that over the spindle. So you can see the spindle on here. If you want to locate it on this, you'll feel it locate. So that's in position. Now, these more recent turntables with the 24 volt motors have a little power supply, and that lives inside. So you put that next to it. The next thing to do is now get the lid with the platter inside, turn it over, make sure you've got your fingers under it so that it doesn't fall out, and just drop that on top. And it should sort of sit there quite level. If you just move it up, move things around until everything lines up, then what you want to do is get your packing pieces. On early Regas, this is the other way around. We're going to fit these that way. Early Regas, it's that way. So it's a shorter packing piece. I found the best way to do this, obviously it'll not work on camera, is to just locate everything into position on one, like that. So that's in. And then, can you see what I'm doing? Almost. And just sit on the bottom there first, slowly. Go on, play with me. What you'll have to do then is, when it gets to this position, you have to squeeze everything together, because it really tightens down. And to give it a bit of persuasion to go on. So pushing on that. What I might do is just move you around a bit. Can you see? So if this isn't quite in yet, you need to sort of slowly persuade it into position. Come on, play the game. That's it, it's gone. Yeah, you can just feel it suddenly fit in. So, packed. If you've got any accessories or anything like that, instructions-wise, that can go on the top. This one's actually got the little elusive kit with the little lid protectors that just sit on the corners of the lids. I wouldn't use those, to be honest, because they go sticky after a while, but there's a brand new set in there anyway, so that's that. Let's just move the box forward, and that should just, hopefully, something went wrong there. Oh dear, cables have all untwound themselves. Yeah, it's alright like that. Anyway, yeah, if it was, like I say, if it was shipping it anywhere, I'll spend a bit more time on that. Okay, make sure the cables come loose, but what I'll do is just make sure they're not sitting under the packing piece underneath. Yeah, that's it. So you can tell if everything's right, because it just fits in. There's nice sort of gaps all the way around it. So it went sort of mostly to plan. So anyway, so that's how you pack a Planer 3, and those are all the pieces you need to do it. If you don't put what I tend to find with people is that they'll bring it in, and the packing piece with the platter in will be sitting on the top of here, and the packing piece will be in position, but there's about an inch worth of play. So if you ship that anywhere, there's potential for the sub-platter to fall out, lose a ball bearing, oil everywhere, and so it's a disaster waiting to happen, really. So anyway, that's that. And like I say, with early P3s, P2s, the box opens that way. So you push it in that way, and it's a bit. I'm out of breath. It's a bit confusing with the earlier ones, because the box is almost square, but it isn't square. So when you put the deck in, the packing pieces need to be on the sides that way. It's not that way. If you do it that way, it'll stick in the box and it'll be there till the end of time. You'll never get it out again, because it's slightly narrower that way and everything jams. So that way in on an old P3. So that's that. Yeah, let's move the camera. So there you go. I'm completely worn out now. All I've done is put a deck into a box. It's completely worn me out. So yeah, that's it. That's the reasoning. It's because, it's a difficult thing to do. And if people are going to send these things to me, then make sure you do it right. If you're not sure you can do it right, I mean, the only option other than sending is to bring it to me. I will gladly accept, decks for servicing, that sort of thing, because that's a part of this job I really enjoy. But I just don't. I haven't got time to rebox things and make packaging and all that sort of thing, and it is becoming, had been becoming a problem, really. And I feel really bad when I say to people that, no, I can't accept it. You can hear the disappointment in the voices, really. Don't forget, I do sell all the spares. I've had a chap this morning who was desperate for me to fix his deck for him, but he didn't have any packaging at all. And he was miles away, he was like 300 miles away. And it worked out that he just needed a capacitor for the deck, really, and it just fit into it. And I said, well, if you just know somebody who can solder, you can order the parts on the website and get somebody who's handy with the soldering iron. It's a very straightforward job. Follow the videos, whatever. Just do it that way. Do it yourself. It's not a difficult job. So yeah, don't forget, all the parts are available on the website. That's what I'm trying to get around to anyway. So I need to go and have a sit down. Get the kettle on. I think that's probably the thing to do. Hope this was helpful. Don't forget to give a subscribe and a like, and I will see you in a future video, hopefully with a bit more breath.